After we meet 5 truly alien aliens in the first few minutes of Farscape, we meet our first Sebacean. You may think you remember who that Sebacean is, but no. The first Sebacean shown is this guy, Captain Crace. And we are shown Crace's underlings, and the show establishes the trope of the antagonists being a brutal military regime.
He's Sebacean.
The show also gives us the trope of the Sebacean as a familiar face in the sea of strangeness, though it is clearly not a friendly face. At first, we see Sebaceans as synonymous with peacekeepers, though there is one early hint otherwise.
Sebaceans, right? They're Sebaceans? Always good to see family.
Family? No, these are common laborers. They are a distant cousin species at best.
Aaron's prejudice is, as we learn, typical of peacekeepers who see themselves as the superior species in the galaxy and deeply bigoted against aliens. But first, let's consider the picture of Sebaceans as a soldier species.
Sebacean. Intellectually suited to carry weapons and die marching in formation.
It's a reputation well deserved because the peacekeepers are little more than thugs, if not full-fledged fascists. Crace, Greza, and Relgic exhibit the harsh, brutal mindset of peacekeepers. And we saw in a flashback what atrocities peacekeepers can commit.
Fire!
But if Sebaceans are intellectually suited to be brutal killing machines, they strangely seem less than physically suited. We learn early on that Sebaceans have little tolerance for heat. This has never made sense to me. As we saw, the Sebacean inability to tolerate high temperatures makes them easily vulnerable. If you were designing a species for all-purpose peacekeeping duties, you would want them to be operational in all climates and terrains, and Sebaceans clearly are not. I say if you were designing a species because, as we learn in the Peacekeeper Wars, Sebaceans were indeed designed and engineered for purpose.
Your evolution was accelerated with generous alterations until you became our trusted acolytes.
It's the reverse of the ancient aliens theory. Humans aren't the result of alien genetic manipulation. Humans are the starting point.
Humans are superior.
Well, not really. Sebaceans are modified humans, and the Eidolons' modifications were improvements to give Sebaceans better eyesight, more stamina, greater lifespan, and so on, except for this odd Achilles heel of not being able to tolerate heat. Granted, not every peacekeeper mission will be in an enclosed climate-controlled environment like in Exodus from Genesis, but you would have to hire another species for missions on tropical planets. Of course, peacekeepers are born and bred aboard spaceships.
Well, we're born and bred on ships. We're in a totally controlled environment until we're sent off on our first peacekeeper assignment.
Peacekeeper personnel are kept in highly controlled environments both physically and socially. We know that breeding is normally controlled by the command structure, and presumably most of a peacekeeper's life is determined for them. They are soldiers after all. But peacekeepers and Sebaceans are not equivalent, as we learn in the Look at the Princess trilogy.
So these are the fabled breakaway colonies.
When they declared independence and fled from our home systems, no one gave them a chance of surviving.
And yet here they are, still hating the peacekeepers 1900 cycles later.
And every peacekeeper attempt since then to forge coalition has failed.
I'd say they enjoy their freedoms far too much, Erin.
Yeah.
And why not?
1900 cycles and still hating the peacekeepers. The Sebaceans of the breakaway colonies show that they are capable of far more than carrying weapons and marching in formation. They have built a thriving and powerful civilization without resorting to the Spartan ethos of the peacekeepers. Their society is autocratic, though, come to think of it, so is every society in Farscape, but that's for another video. Empress Novia rules with a firm hand, but her rule is benevolent, and her empire is peaceful and prosperous. Noblesse oblige. Sebacean history is quite long.
At the dawn of our period of usefulness, 27,000 cycles ago, We developed need of a guard, a race no one had quarrel with, a force to ensure harmony prevailed once negotiations had finished.
Peacekeepers.
We took great care to choose a species no one had met before. We found your kind, primitive and barely clothed, far removed on the galaxy's outer spiral.
Yes, the Sebaceans are us. Well, as Crichton says.
Kissing cousins, just like humans and Sebaceans.
And yeah, Crichton knows about kissing Sebaceans.
I am never leaving this world.
Down boy. Crichton also knows about recreating with one Sebacean and reproducing, which is another interesting difference between Sebaceans and humans.
Military campaigns can last for many cycles. Imagine if even a portion of a female unit fell pregnant. Those of us born on a command carrier can retain an embryonic fetus for up to 7 cycles. And only a surgeon can release the stasis so the baby can grow.
That is a very useful ability, probably one of the modifications made by the Eidolons. Whatever else Sebaceans may do, they are still a species genetically designed to be soldiers. They are as warlike as their kissing cousins, the humans, and apparently they've been roaming the galaxy for 12,000 cycles.
Lacking our mediation abilities, they kept peace the only way they could, at the muzzle of a weapon.
With what happens to the Peacekeepers in the comics, and I'll keep to my policy of not spoiling major plot developments in the comics, what the future holds for Sebaceans is a fascinating question. We look forward to finding out, especially the future of our favorite Sebacean and her half-Sebacean, half-human son.